Who's closer to whose legacy? LeBron James to Michael Jordan or Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady? I open the floor to you guys, but I think I'm going to I'll let you guys start. I need a breather. I need a sip of water. John, what do you think, man?
To me, this one is easy. Sometimes when you get these qualitative questions where there's no who won the game on Sunday? Well, let's talk about it like easily. There's a scoreboard, right? This is up to the eyes of the beholder. But in my mind, and for my money, LeBron James at some point around winning the bubble championship and seeing what he's done since then to play with his son, past Michael Jordan. And for my money, all time, everything on the table and considered, LeBron James has already passed Michael Jordan as being the best basketball player of all time.
I'm going to jump in
So,
here for a second because this is the same take I have too. My
okay.
my first note for the show is LeBron is closer to Jordan because he's already better than Jordan. And maybe this is the homer in me a little bit and the Cleveland in me, but I just think LeBron James' legacy, whether that be playing with his son, his longevity, because he sustained an elite level of play through 20 plus seasons. Who knows how long he'll go? We're talking about Jordan. Yeah, he has 6 titles. That's a team award, and he was a part of a franchise that kept a core together for a very long time. LeBron has bounced around the league, won it, done it in different ways. I mean, we could list all of the external achievements that isn't a championship. The only thing in my mind that Jordan has over LeBron at this point is sneakers that could flip in the next 20 years, and LeBron ones are the next cool thing, and rings. That only goes so far in my mind. Nike would agree with me. They gave LeBron $1 billion to stay. That's just me.
Yeah, and all of the stuff that they do, I'll give you the sneakers because in my mind, Jordan's more iconic, but that's the generational thing. I grew up when Jordan was playing and saw everybody wearing the Jordans. But
Don't get
you're
me wrong, sneakerhead wise too. Me, I'd rather wear a pair of Jordans out than a pair of LeBrons. But
right.
we were talking about trends before the show. Who
No,
knows what
no,
we're going to be wearing 20 years from now? You
we
guys
don't.
probably some diabetic shoes or some ortho lights or whatever the hell. But me, I
Diabetic
might be in
shoe.
LeBron ones. Who knows?
A diabetic shoe. Oh, that's
The
great.
ones with the Velcro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Nike
yeah,
a
man.
Velcro.
couple pair of New Balance with the Velcro strap. No, the thing that I would say on the other side, I do want to put some respect on Patrick Mahomes' name. He's just not there with Brady yet. This is a Brady-esque run. He's doing Brady-esque things. We've taken him so for granted that the man came out and led his team to a record that was 15-2, and everybody's
Yeah,
talking about
15
how
and
the
1.
Chiefs are
Yeah.
dead and how the Bills and the Ravens are better, and Lamar's clearly the MVP. Like we're taking this guy for granted, like we took Tom Brady, and he's winning at an unprecedented rate. So I do think that especially if they win this year or one or two more in the next 3 or 4 years, you're going to have to start having that conversation too. Um, but Patrick Mahomes is still working at chipping away to be in the conversation with Brady. LeBron James has chipped it away, and he's clearly in the conversation. Um, the only question is whether or not you put him above Michael or behind him. But even if I said, "Hey, LeBron has a little bit to go," he'd be so much closer to Jordan than Patrick Mahomes is. Patrick Mahomes still just has work to do.
Eric, I want to know your thoughts because is it different than ours? I mean, you're a Cleveland guy through and through, so I'm curious what you're feeling.
I really went back and forth on this, to be honest with you. First of all, when we talk legacy, I think LeBron was or is a better player than Jordan was. But what LeBron never had that Jordan and Kobe had was that Mamba mentality. That helped seal 6 rings for Jordan, which LeBron cannot touch. That is one of the biggest differentiators, in my opinion, of the two of them. And I think overall, like I said, I think LeBron's the better player and he'll go down as being the greatest player of all time. But legacy, uh, Jordan's still the GOAT in the eyes of many, and it's for a reason. He has the rings. When it comes to Mahomes and Brady, I know everybody's sick of Patrick Mahomes. I actually don't hate him like a lot of people hate him. I don't understand the hate he gets. He's never really put a foot wrong. I think He's not a super arrogant guy that's talking trash constantly, doesn't get into trouble. He kind of just lives his life and wins Super Bowls. That's enough to make you hate somebody. People hated Brady as well. Mahomes has only been in the league now, what? This is his 8th year, I believe,
I
and
think so.
his
Eighth and ninth.
7th starting.
Something
So in
like
that
that, yeah.
time, he already has 3 Super Bowl wins. He could get a 4th. Half of his time playing in the league, he's won a Super Bowl. That's insane. The rate, like you said, that he's going is just he's gonna
Yeah.
blow Brady out. I know we said
Yep.
right now,
Hmm.
but barring something catastrophic injury wise or the team really blowing up, I think Mahomes far outstrips Brady
That
based on where
was
he's at right now.
that was my question about this whole thing too. I think Mahomes is close to Brady. I think you could make an argument if he three-peats this year, or arguably just because no one's ever done that. That's a huge
Right.
accomplishment that Brady hasn't even crossed. Brady's longevity is a huge part of his key there, and he
Mm-hmm.
played the traditional pocket passer style of quarterback. Mahomes
Mm-hmm.
rolls out, he moves around, more susceptible to injury. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying he's going to get hurt or something crazy is going to happen, but longevity wise, Brady played into his 40s. Do we see Mahomes doing that? I don't personally know. I don't know what his crazy routines are. I think if you could see a guy like LeBron play at the level LeBron is, you could arguably see the same thing for Patrick Mahomes in his time. I think we are witnessing the next Brady sooner than we all expected. But yeah, I agree with you. He hasn't passed it yet, but we are well on the fast track and watching greatness. And at some point, everybody who's going to be or is a hater is going to be appreciative of the fact that they got to watch Patrick Mahomes play football, regardless of the jokes of the refs being on the Chiefs' side and that kind of thing.
I mean, they are for sure, but 29 years old with 3 rings and possibly winning 3 in a row. And
Yep.
to circle back and make our show, come full circle, he's also a black quarterback doing this. And it's got to be noted because that is extremely rare. Um, and it's not because they can't play the position or, the bullshit that John was talking about. And when I say bullshit that, people put on black quarterbacks unfairly and unjustifiably. But what he's building an incredible legacy for himself, whether he reaches Brady heights or not. One other point about Jordan and LeBron, they considered changing the NBA logo to Jordan, to the Jumpman. I mean, that's the kind of legacy we're talking about. I've never heard of the conversation changing it to LeBron. I think he's done more for the
He's
sport in
still
a
in the
time
league,
where
though, to be fair.
Yeah.
I get it, and I do think he's done more for the league just because of the time he was in it, based on social media, the internet. It's bigger now, and so the presence is bigger. But John, I mean, you remember there was nothing like the superstardom that was Jordan and the Bulls. I mean,
No.
nothing even comes close to that today, in my opinion. He still outstrips LeBron, whether or not LeBron's the better player, because I do think that he is in more ways in the game. LeBron's unmatched when it comes to court knowledge. What he does off, if you're a real basketball fan, you know that what he does off the ball is some of the most impressive stuff that you'll see on a court. It's stuff that doesn't necessarily go into the statistics page, but he's a field general out there that's really directing wins. You
Hmm.
can't say enough about that. But
No,
we're talking about legacy, and he's not there.
if you're
And
talking
he's
about legacy, I got to be fair because I'm always like, well, you answered this question, but the question really is X, and I was thinking, who's a better player? Um, I would not say hands down that LeBron's legacy is past Jordan's yet, so I would have to come back and agree with you. But to answer the question, it doesn't change. LeBron is closer to Jordan than Mahomes is to Brady in terms of legacy. If you
Right.
extrapolate Mahomes' career over the same number of years as Brady, the conversation will be different in 8 years, but we're not 8 years forward. So for now, that's the answer. I will
I,
say
I
this, though, about LeBron that people take for granted and forget. Most of the things that have to do with LeBron's legacy go unheralded, unseen, or unappreciated. LeBron James was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was 17 years old.
17. Yeah.
And
yeah,
Michael
right.
Jordan was like coming off the bench for North Carolina. LeBron James was averaging 25, 8, and 6 when Michael Jordan would have been a junior. He came in with the biggest fanfare ever for somebody coming into the NBA and lived up to every iota of the hype without question.
Any sport.
He went
I've
to
never
8
heard of anyone
straight.
in any sport.
Correct.
They've tried
He
to
went to
replicate
8
it. They've
straight.
never replicated it.
No, he went to 8 straight NBA finals when LeBron took 2 years off to play baseball.
You mean Jordan? You just
Or
said
when,
LeBron.
yeah, sorry, when Jordan took 2 years off to play baseball. And the other thing that I will say to you is that Jordan was a cigar smoking, hard partying, womanizing, is what he is. Insert your favorite adjectives here. It's fine, whatever. That doesn't make him an evil person. But if Michael Jordan had to play his entire career out in the age of social media, his legacy would be far different. And LeBron had to do all of that in social media, and has never so much as gotten, a jaywalking ticket. In how many years in the NBA? 20.
He did show his penis on air once.
I don't think that was his fault. Eric digresses. Maybe that's part of the legacy, Eric. I don't know.
That's crazy. Right, that part.
I just think that, yes, you're right. When you think about, if I saw LeBron walking through an airport, I'd be like, I might be able to get a fist bump in. And if I saw Jordan walk through the airport, I'd be like, that's Michael freaking Jordan. Like, I get what you're saying.
But him being an anomaly
is
because he's
walking.
weird. I don't want to say weird, but because he's not in the public eye like that anymore. He doesn't do that kind of thing. I don't think that's
But here's the
legacy.
thing.
I think that's just him as a person. LeBron is an approachable person, I feel like. Jordan would not be.
Strip away basketball for a second, though, because we're talking about legacy. After the two of them are both dead, I think Jordan shoes are going to continue to sell. I mean, that in and of itself, the Jordan brand is such a behemoth, which is part of his legacy that he leaves behind. I don't know.
No,
wait until Nike starts pumping the marketing dollars into the Jordan brand or the LeBron brand like that, though. Not saying they don't now, but they have launched the Jordan brand to another era. That's the goal with LeBron's brand as well. We just aren't there yet because all LeBron does is play basketball right now.
No. We're not there because they don't get bought like Jordan's did. You have to understand the cultural phenomenon that were Jordan's shoes while Jordan was still playing. It has nothing to do with the fact that LeBron's still playing and he's not hawking shoes enough. No,
now,
Jordan's changed the game. It saved Nike, arguably, and put them in a stratosphere where they were nowhere near. So to say that LeBron will get there, no, I don't think they've seen anywhere near the success, and so they're not pumping the money in, and I don't foresee them doing so, period.
Let me play devil's advocate here for a second. As, again, the residential sneakerhead, there was a point in time, you're talking 2008 to 2013-ish, 5-year run, where Nike basketball was as big, if not bigger, than Jordan. People were seen wearing LeBrons with jeans and KDs with the elites and the baggy cargo shorts and that kind of thing. Like, there is a market, there is a trend where this will come back around, and LeBron 10s and LeBron 9s and LeBron 8s, 1s, 2s, whatever, are going to be very popular. Discrediting the LeBron brand is not fair to LeBron.
I didn't discredit the brand. I said it's nowhere near the Jordan brand. There's a difference.
Yeah.
But I would venture to guess, too. I need you to do a little Googling because I would venture to guess that in those years you just named, that Jordan still sold more under the Jordan branding than Nike basketball sold under the Nike basketball branding.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing, Noah. It's when Noah, I actually see both sides of this point. I think I side with Eric because Noah, yes, we're not discounting the brand. We're just saying the distance between number one and number two is very far. Like, LeBron has a massive brand. He's a billionaire. He's all the things. No shade. You're saying, hey, look, Nike basketball was bigger. That had Kyrie and Durant and LeBron than Jordan, who hasn't played meaningful basketball in 20 years.
Yeah, when did he exit the league?
That's like all of the stars right now with Nike who are actively playing basketball barely outsold just Michael Jordan, who hasn't played in the NBA since 2020 or 2001 or whatever it was.
I agree with you on that point too, but I think LeBron James, the brand, also makes up for a lot of. We're talking about just shoes right here. And obviously, I will sit here and talk about shoes all day with you two on a podcast if you want to. We could have a whole shoe episode if you want. But LeBron James, the brand, if you're talking about legacy on, off, in between the court, is so much bigger than what Jordan has done with his fame and all of that. Yeah, Space Jam is a thing, but you're talking about all the movies that LeBron's a part of, all the extra ventures LeBron's a part of. If you're talking full blown legacy and we're getting into the business side of it, that's a part of it too, then. And LeBron's legacy and brand outside of just shoes and basketball would then eclipse Jordan in my mind already.
Just because you do more things doesn't mean it's more successful. I mean, the Jordan brand in 2022 had a revenue of 5.1 billion. I mean, LeBron's just nowhere close to that. That's facts. I don't know. I think that's indisputable, honestly.
I agree with you on a level. I'm not trying to discredit Jordan's legacy at all because it's a big part of basketball history. But when it's all said and done, and you're looking at it, and they're both in the grave, or we're hanging up in the great beyond with them later on playing pickup basketball, whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think LeBron's legacy is going to eclipse Jordan's, and it's not going to be particularly close, whether it be the player on the court, whether it be the player off the court, and all of it in between. That's just me.
The funny thing is that so much of this has to do with when we talk shoes in particular, has to do with Nike and where they're at as a brand and as a company, and Nike's not doing well. So unfortunately for LeBron, the dollars that go behind it just aren't going to be there. I say unfortunately, I mean the man's made his money, he's made his mark. I don't think it really matters. But Nike is, as of now, I'm not saying they won't turn it around, but they are a dying brand.
I also want to say one more thing to Noah's point that I think was correct, because the question is today, who's closer to the legacy? It's still debatable based on all the things. I think we all agree LeBron's probably the better basketball player at this point, but the legacy comes down to business and impact in the community and just everything. Like when you think about the names. But the problem that we always face is these stars rise and fall on different timelines. Um, my grandfather told me stories all the time about Oscar Robertson, Bill Russell, players from that generation, Wilt Chamberlain, guys, and then coming even Magic Johnson and some of those guys, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, with my father. There was a
God, you're
point in
old.
time where nobody could remember anything better than Magic Johnson. He had the Converse deal, and it was great. And then Michael Jordan came, and so part of it isn't just the legacy. Part of it is the people who were there to watch these players play get fewer and far between as the younger generation that grew up with the new thing comes into adulthood. The reason Jordan's at the pinnacle now of legacy is because we, people my age, grew up watching Jordan, and now we're buying shoes, even though they're in their 40s and even 50s in some cases. But in 40 years, when Noah is, 30 years, when Noah's whatever age, he's going to be talking about the stories to his kids about LeBron because he never saw Michael Jordan play. So at some point, Michael Jordan's arch is going to start coming down as LeBron's is still rising because LeBron's going to be the 50-year-old emeritus guy who's still
Do,
around and
do
Jordan's going
you
to be
think
100.
so, though?
Yeah.
You're
I
talking
was
about
gonna say
zeitgeist, and
I could play devil's advocate on this for a second too, Eric. I'll be really quick. I'm sorry, but talking just sneakers and stuff like that, as a guy who's advocating for LeBron right now, I like Jordan's shoes way more than I like LeBron's. I have
Oh,
way
yeah.
more Jordans than LeBron's, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon in terms of people and fashion and sneakers. Go ahead, Eric.
yeah, it's Jordan has become a lifestyle brand. LeBron still very much has a basketball brand. And I think that's the biggest difference in my opinion is that those two spheres haven't met yet. Could LeBron take off into that? Because you're talking, what you were saying, John, is that cultural zeitgeist that, you know, we're a product of our decades in which we're born. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but what Jordan's, the brand, has been able to do has been to eclipse that and overtake that and stay relevant years and years. We talked about decades after he's even retired. LeBron
Mm-hmm.
just hasn't done that yet. Could he? Sure, we just don't know.
No, I agree. And the one thing I would say though, I'm not saying yes to everything you said is what I'm saying, except we're focused on brand. At some point we switched from talking about basketball to saying legacy is just brand. I'm talking about the whole package. When Michael Jordan is in his 60s and 70s and LeBron has retired and is in still in his working prime and he's 40 to 50 and can spend 20 years growing LeBron like Jordan did, and Jordan is fading into the sunset, there's the opportunity for LeBron to keep growing. Like this book isn't going to be written, and I'm not just talking about shoes. I'm not just talking about a lifestyle brand. I'm talking about everything. LeBron has a school in Akron, right? Like legacy is a big thing.
Yeah, and I guess you got to define legacy, which we didn't do. For me, legacy is looking back on your life after you've passed. What did you leave behind? And when we're talking about these two, what culturally, what is the conversation that surrounds you? And just as of now, I think it's bigger for Jordan. That definitely could change.
Yeah,
that's 100%. I think we're all looking at it from different points of like, I'm taking it as I think LeBron's passed it because XYZ, and he's going to continue to pass it because of XYZ. You're looking at it as solely the right now, Eric, and that's not 100% my opinion, but I get why it's your opinion. And
yeah.
John, you're kind of floating in between all of it, trying to figure out what your definition is, maybe.
And they have all kinds of stuff too that we didn't hit on for like LeBron. And I don't want to drum this up. I know you're trying to get us to hot takes and out, so I'll keep it brief. But Michael Jordan dodged politics his entire life, and LeBron hits it head on. 30 years from now, that could have a big impact that we don't realize in the moment. So I just wanted to say I'm thinking of things outside of basketball and brand. Those are big pieces of it.
Okay, but if you're going to say that one side of it, John, you got to say the other side, which is he backed right down to China. So sure, he enters the fray of politics, but
I didn't say he was
picks
perfect.
And chooses.
I just said he doesn't dodge it all. Jordan had.
To lighten the mood and kind of segue us, I have a question for John. Do you know how, like, when a team loses the Super Bowl, or Notre Dame, for example, they ship all that championship gear that's pre-made off to like Honduras or whatever, so the poor kids can have, they think Notre Dame won the national championship. Did you ship your Tennessee gear over somewhere? Or I'm just wondering what you did with it.
John, sing Rocky Top, man.
I'm not doing it.
He knows the words. That's what's crazy.
Can confirm at the bar on Saturday this past weekend, John sang us Rocky Top in front of his wife. Just saying. Just putting that out there. Real quick, to wrap up this segment, put a nice little bow on it. Give me your answer for both. We're talking LeBron. We're talking Jordan. Put that in one box. We're talking Mahomes. We're talking Brady. I know we went basically down the LeBron Jordan path, but give me your answer for both segments. For me, I think LeBron passes Jordan's legacy already. I think he is the GOAT in terms of basketball, and I think his star is only going to rise. I think Mahomes is already grabbing on to Tom Brady's taped Under Armour football turf shoes because he never wore cleats, but he's not there yet. John, what do you think?
Yeah, something similar. Better player is LeBron, but legacy is a lot closer. I don't want to call it a tie. To answer the question
right now, though.
Yeah, right now, I think.
And then Noah started talking about the future, but right now.
Yeah, right now, today, I think Jordan's total legacy is still bigger than LeBron's, but LeBron's still playing. I definitely think Patrick Mahomes has work to do to be in the same conversation as Brady. He is a phenomenal talent, and the world is his oyster right now, and I think he'll win 5 more. But today, no, Brady's still the GOAT. Mahomes has work to do. But Mahomes can get there.
They do, Gavin. It's well known that losing teams of all major sports, all that gear is pre-made so they can wear it on the field and so that they can ship it out immediately. We're talking a lot of stuff is made, and they ship it all to third world countries. So there's a kid running around somewhere today with a Notre Dame shirt winning the national championship.
I had a guy I used to work with who opened a school and nonprofit in Costa Rica, and he sent me a picture of a kid in Cleveland Indians 1997 World Champions T-shirt, and I was like, oh, it still hurts.
The funny
Eric,
thing is, I feel like there's a business opportunity here because I bet people here would buy that gear. It's kind of a novelty item. If we could
no,
get
you
our
see it
hands on
online
it,
sometimes for like $300-400 with the tag still on it. Eric,
Yeah,
put
exactly.
your bow
it's
on it. Tell me your answer
they're
for
not
Mahomes
allowed.
Brady.
That's the answer for
Well,
you.
I know, but
Oh yeah, the
I'm
brands
saying
won't.
if we could just find it in Honduras and bring it back. But um, my bow is you said legacy and you said right now. So I'm going to take you at your word and not do what you did. I will say right now it's Jordan. Right now it's Brady.
Okay, fair enough.